Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to this session on adapting to new normal customer behaviour. And this is the first in a new series of events looking at the challenges of providing leadership for the new normal. And there has been a lot of discussion about how companies have had to adapt their ways of working as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And there's also been subsequent debate about whether this is merely a temporary change or something more permanent, with the pandemic just a kickstart that has led to changes in ways of working that would have happened in due course anyway. So in this morning's panel discussion, we'll be hearing from our guests from different sectors about how their customers' behaviour is changing and how they are adapting and championing new insight-led ways of customer engagement. So I'm Alan Thompson, one of the directors here at Customer Attuned, and I head up the people capability side of our business, and I'll be chairing today's session with our panel. I'll introduce our panel very shortly, but firstly, I just can provide a brief overview of how the session today will run. So the panel discussion will last about 30 to 35 minutes, and our guests will be sharing their unique insights into how their companies and their teams have been adapting to drive their business forward and help their customers during the extremely challenging operating conditions of the past few months. So to get things underway, I'd just like to briefly introduce you to our panel for today. And I'm absolutely delighted that we've been joined by three guests, so Kirk Bradley, Tiffany Carpenter, and James Leese, as well as my fellow director, Peter Lavers. So Kirk is currently the Director of Commercial Operations at Bupa's UK Insurance Division, and he has over 30 years of experience in the insurance sector and has most recently been responsible for the operational response at Bupa to the COVID-19 crisis for the sales and account management teams. Tiffany joined us from SAS, where she is the head of customer intelligence, and she spent the past 25 years helping organizations transform their customer experience across sales, service, and marketing operations. And she's currently guiding many of her clients to apply advanced analytics and AI to help them harness customer insights and ultimately shape unique experiences tailored to their needs. And our third panel member today is James, the Chief Customer Officer at Cox Automotive. And he's really passionate about creating effective teams that are highly developed and in turn motivated to execute strategies to enhance value-adding client propositions. And our own Peter Lavers will add his own insights later in the discussion, drawing from his enormous experience gained from the development of customer-centric strategies from working with B2B clients across numerous sectors and numerous geographies. So I'm going to kick this off by asking our panelists to give a brief contextual introduction to their company and who their customers are, and then to highlight any significant behavioural changes they have seen in their customers in recent months. So I'm going to ask Kirk to come in first on that one, please.
Sure, thank you, Alan. So I'm from Bupa. Bupa's an international healthcare company with about 17 million customers. We've got no shareholders, so customers really are our focus. We reinvest profits into providing more and better healthcare for them. The first major change that we saw in our insurance and provisioning businesses was really around aligning the line to the closure of our health centres and our dental clinics. Our hospital was also given over to the NHS in the fight against COVID. So there was a fair bit of confusion from customers on what was happening with their ongoing treatments, but also lots of customers, both individual and corporate, were struggling to continue to pay premiums. And their safety and our people's safety was our primary concern. We were quite fortunate in that we were able to learn from our colleagues in Hong Kong who'd been through this, the early phases of it. We've also got a really strong clinical expertise within Bupa. So we lent this to really determine our plans, but also how we'd help our customers. In about 3 weeks, we stood up about 7,000 people to be able to work from home. But we've also seen a significant shift in our customers as well, not just those financial elements that are referenced, but really seeking support to ensure the well-being of staff and continuing to demonstrate how we can help them through topics like well-being, remote healthcare services, or remote working. So those sorts of things could range from supporting people at home through mental health provision through to real innovative home care arrangements such as a virtual dental checkup using telephone technology to add value. So we've moved our whole response away from selling our insurance and provisioning to helping our existing customers and finding new and different ways of working for customers. You can actually access our dedicated COVID hub. There's lots of useful and helpful information to individuals and businesses to help you through the current pandemic. And for customers who have been asking questions about the value of their products and services, we've adapted lots of our services to be able to help from home and still continue to do so. We've also made it very clear to our insurance customers we'll be rebating any exceptional profits from this crisis. So it's been quite a challenging time, but you know, some real quick progress to help our customers.
That's great. Thank you very much for that introduction, Kirk. James, can I come to you next, please?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Alan. Hi, everyone. So James Leese, organisation I represent is Cox Automotive. We're a part of a global organisation supplying automotive solutions to predominantly our customer base of vehicle manufacturers, large fleet companies, contract hire companies, franchise dealers and independent dealers. And in the UK, we have 4 divisions. So we have physical services, which basically is everything about moving of vehicles and preparing them for their sale after their first use. We have remarketing business, which is predominantly about selling vehicles in a wholesale environment to franchise dealers and other buyers out there in the marketplace. We have a retail division, which is all about generating retail demand through digital retailing to support mainly franchise dealers and independent dealers. And last, we have a financial business, which is supporting our customers with floor plan to support them with their stocking of their used vehicles. So when the pandemic first hit, some of the changes we initially saw, as I alluded to about our remarketing business, physical auctions is the largest part of our organisation. And we sell probably circa 500,000 vehicles a year for our customers. So cash flow is hugely important. As you imagine, there's a lot of cash flowing in and out of our business. So when the pandemic first hit, the first impact we saw were those vehicles being pretty much locked behind closed doors as our auction sites were locked down for obviously safety reasons, and not being able to, for customers either to sell those vehicles or cars that are sold not being able to be collected, then meaning payment didn't happen. So cash flow was a critical discussion we had every day. I'm pleased to say we did the right thing. It's one of our core values as an organisation, and we looked at it very closely to say, what could we do to support our customers? So the first instance was always about how could we release cash to support them short term through the challenge. So we did that. We also offered various financial solutions through Next Gear Capital as well to support them during this period, knowing that the first major point of this crisis was about making sure they had cash in the bank to continue paying bills as they knew business wasn't coming in. So that was our first action point. And then secondary, a bit like Kirk really, was about how do you support your customers in what was a very grey area. So in our world, lots of questions being asked. One of the parts of our business is sending out people to collect vehicles end of lease. That means sometimes 4 people in a car. You just couldn't operate that anymore. But the guidelines from the government were very grey in some areas. So likewise, we set up a COVID-specific area on our website. We pulled as much collateral together as possible to support our customers. And the other thing we've done consistently in the last 17, 18 weeks is send out regular communications, either from board members to our customers via videos or directly through our chief exec as well, and internally keeping our people involved. So one of the first changes we saw to support our customers was as a board, and I'm sure very similar to lots of others, we were having meetings every day and still continue to do that to this day to make sure we continue to evolve and develop and make sure we're in readiness to support our customers with new challenges.
That's great. Thank you, James. A really, really interesting introduction. So, Tiffany, without stealing your thunder, SaaS are in the business of providing expert analytics to their customers. So, perhaps in addition to your contextual introduction, could you share any specifics on how you've used this expertise to both understand and quantify changes in customer behaviours, either with your own customers or your customers' customers?
Yeah, sure, Alan. So, thanks. Yeah, I work at SaaS. And our vision at SaaS is to turn a world of data into a world of intelligence, basically. And we do that by helping organizations deploy analytics, machine learning, and AI to make data-driven decisions. We work with all sorts of organizations, both large and small, so retailers, banks, insurance companies, supermarkets, airlines, right through to kind of government and the NHS. And in my role, I help organizations really try to differentiate themselves by using analytics and AI to really deliver better customer experiences. So that's a little bit about SaaS. And regards to your question around kind of changing customer behaviours, I think, you know, we've all been forced to lead much more digital lives, particularly over the lockdown. I think through that period, we've, you know, if you think we've all kind of had to do online banking, online shopping, we're doing this kind of this panel online as well. And I think through that period, we've seen a real gap between the organisations that are providing really great digital experiences and those that are potentially lagging behind in this area. So if you think about the Zooms and the Amazon, it's really simple and easy. You can get one click and you've purchased a product on Amazon and it's on your doorstep the next day. One click, you're in Zoom and you're talking to your friends and your colleagues and your family. And yet through the lockdown, we also heard stories of call centres being inundated, customers waiting on hold for hours, unable to get through to get any kind of personal advice. So I think the pandemic and the lockdown, the behaviours that we've seen in customers have really highlighted that need for organisations to really focus on delivering much better and personalised experiences through digital channels, but also providing the kind of personal service and advice. So I'll take like the mortgage payment holiday as just one example. The banks basically put a digital form online so you could actually apply digitally, but for a lot of customers, they weren't sure if this was the right option for them, and they weren't sure what their repayments might be at the end of the holiday. And there was no way to get that information digitally, and that's why a lot of the bank's call centres were suddenly inundated. So at SAS, we've been busy helping organisations really deal with these types of changes in customer behaviour. That mortgage example, you know, we've got the ability to allow banks to use analytics and AI to deliver that type of personalised recommendations and advice to customers in the moment. So those customers that don't want to speak to a human can do everything digitally and do everything kind of in one or just a few number of clicks. And I think over the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see a real shift in focus from organisations really deploying these types of digital experiences right across the business, because, you know, that gap will only widen if not.
That's great.